This Sagittarius Full Moon is diving straight into the emotional shadow of Sagittarius energy. The truth-seeking, the spiritual bypassing, the emotional avoidance, the fear of commitment, the pressure to turn pain into meaning very fast. All of those are shadow behaviors that are associated with zodiac sign Sagittarius. We're going to unpack the Moon conjunct Lilith, the Uranus opposition to the Moon, Neptune and Saturn trine dynamics, as well as the psychology behind why freedom, authenticity, intimacy, identity feels so emotionally charged under the Sagittarius full moon. If you're into astrology, shadow work, emotional intelligence, so blue moon rituals, Sagittarius moon transits, and brutally honest psychological astrology content, this episode is for you because we are going deep. Welcome back to the Aquarius podcast, where we use astrology to develop emotional intelligence. Over the next 20 minutes, I'm going to tell you what you can expect from the upcoming Sagittarius full moon, what issues may come up, what risks are involved, are there any opportunities for growth? I'm going to go over all of that and offer some guidance about the parts of your life that this moon will be impacting. I will give each rising sign a question for them to journal about or reflect on to increase self-awareness, and we're going to finish the podcast with an emotional regulation tool to help you navigate this moon transit. On May 31st, the moon reaches fullness at 9th degrees of Sagittarius. It's a blue moon. You've heard the expression once in the blue moon? That means this full moon is quite rare, and in fact, it's the second full moon of the calendar month. That too makes this lunar transit very rare, but the astrology beneath it is even more loaded. You see, this full moon speaks in riddles. It brings closure, the kind where you finally understand something that has been puzzling you for a very long time. And it's doing that through the influences of Uranus, who's sitting in opposition to this moon. And that alone is going to bring relationships to their raw, natural essence. And the other opposing force to Uranus is Saturn, forming a trine to this moon, offering us stability and the containment to actually build something authentic. Psychologically, the tension here is around embracing what needs to be disrupted so that our foundation can be a lot more sturdy. There's a push-pull energy here between the truth, which unsettles us, and the wisdom that grows us. This Sagittarius full moon is offering a reorientation of meaning. It's a moment where the story that you've been living, the ideas you've had, the worldview you inherited, the belief systems that are running on autopilot are being fully illuminated. Sagittarius doesn't do small revelations. It's big, it's bold, it's dramatic. It goes for the whole philosophical undercurrent. You're being asked to break down what this blue moon is activating within you. You have to do that labor of giving meaning to the experiences that you're having. It's asking you to investigate what it is you're experiencing and to release what no longer serves you. What's the tension? It's between Sagittarius and Gemini. Gemini thinks and Sagittarius sees. Sagittarius rules over the higher mind, which is our belief system or philosophy about life, and Gemini rules over the lower mind, which is the factual reality of life. These two states of being are in opposition in the world of astrology because knowing something and believing something are not necessarily the same. When it comes to truth, some of them are tangible and some of them are spiritual, and this tension is going to be evident. So what is the main emotion? It's going to be rage, a lot of anger, because this full moon is working well together with Lilith. Lilith is a rebel. Lilith is your spiritual goddess energy. Lilith was deemed to be too much. She wasn't submissive enough. She was too wild. The wound of being too much, too free, too dangerous, too scary, not lovable, too destabilizing for others is going to be very apparent. That's the first wound. We're also dealing with Uranus being in opposition to this moon, which creates a mind that keeps editing the truth mid-sentence. It's almost like you know what the truth is, but you want to intellectualize it to avoid feeling it inside your body, even though the body already knows. Our relationships may flare up in areas where honesty has not been extended. Sometimes in relationship, we sacrifice honesty for the sake of the companionship or the comfort. Sometimes sometimes those little sacrifices start adding up, and then we get smaller and smaller and smaller. You might find yourself wondering whether you have sacrificed too much. Have you been honest enough about what you want, what you need? Have you reduced your self-worth to being agreeable? Another area where we may notice this is within areas of our lives where we are in positions of leadership. There's no escaping what we believe. There's no escaping how we behaved. There's no escaping who we are. Not just about our character, but also how we think, what we think we're deserving of, what dreams we've abandoned because of low self-esteem or low self-worth or not believing in ourselves. So the goal is to stay with the discomfort long enough for that discomfort to give us meaning. It's not just about the drama of it all. Oftentimes Sagittarius gets experienced this way as chaotic, but there is a magic to the chaos. When you surrender to it, the chaos teaches you about your limitations. The growth opportunity is to expand your mindset, to reconstruct your belief system, to adopt a new philosophy. Think about your life and the agency that you have within it slightly differently. What you're here at this juncture to learn is that it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to learn new things. It's okay to reinvent your concept of yourself, to reinvent your ideas about what this world is. And it's okay to use both your intuition and your intellectual knowledge to navigate this reality. The thing I want you to look out for is that Pisces is currently in the North Node, which means Virgo's in the South Node. Virgo is the analyst. Pisces is the spiritual guru. The shadow side of Pisces is this desire to transcend discomfort, transcend pain by making it spiritual. What the Sagittarius full moon is asking of you is something a lot more honest. It's not about spirituality as it is about reality as you interpret it, the truth of the matter. Pisces North Node being square this moon is basically saying, hey, you can try to transcend this into some fancy spiritual language to make all of this make sense so that you can talk your way out of this mess without accountability, but it's not going to work because Lilith was rejected for her truth. And that rejection is also power because when you own your truth, you cannot be rejected for your truth. Ask yourself, what truths am I currently making more palatable so other people feel more comfortable? And what is the price that I'm currently paying for it? And is it worth being in a cage? The risk involved with the Sagittarius full moon is about reconciling the tension with the urge to run away. Aries, being the first leader of the zodiac, has this impulsive need to constantly be in motion. And whenever Aries feels discomfort, their first reaction is to do something. What the Sagittarius full moon is asking you to do is to actually sit with it, to be with it, to become it, to analyze it, to think it through and allow your feelings to develop as you gain more intellectual insight into the patterns that have gotten you exactly where you are. And it's really an opportunity to see the role that we play into creating our reality. And when we're willing to go on that uncomfortable journey without running away, we actually gain more insight about who we are, what we're capable of, what we can transmute. Sagittarius comes after Scorpio because at the Sagittarius stage, we know that pain is a teacher. That is the story of Scorpio. It's overcoming pain. When you get to be a Sagittarius from a Scorpio, the pain now guides you deeper within yourself. So you acquire more wisdom as a result. It's less about denying the pain or feeling overwhelmed by it or trying to control it, and more about learning from it. So it requires an element of curiosity. The Sagittarius full moon is asking you to get curious about your psyche, about the way that you think, why you think the way that you think, and how the way that you think creates your reality. That is both the risk and the reward. The Sagittarius moon is giving birth to your inner philosopher. The inner philosopher is choosing to be exiled so that they can learn more about themselves. This full moon happening at the 9th degree, which is a degree of Sagittarius, is going to amplify this hunger for spiritual meaning, for purpose, for a belief system or worldview that aligns with our integral sense of self. This burning within that cannot be extinguished. It is is the raw, unmitigated fire of the wild, divine feminine. She's demanding something from you. If you're Aries rising, that demand is falling in the ninth house. The question is, have you mistaken someone else's belief system for your own? And what would you have to destroy for you to find out what you actually believe about the world? Taurus rising, for you, this is in the eighth house. The question is, what emotional or financial debts are you still paying that was never actually yours to own? Gemini rising, for you, this falls in the seventh house. Are you choosing partners who mirror your freedom, or are you choosing partners who quietly require you to contain your authentic essence? Cancer rising, for you, this falls in the sixth house. Where in your daily routine are you performing health and wellness while quietly abandoning yourself? Leo rising, for you, this falls in the fifth house. What form of creative or erotic expression have you made palatable for an audience that never deserved a seat at your table? Virgo rising, for you, this falls in the fourth house. What ancestral emotional pattern are you still managing instead of finally grieving? Libra rising, for you, this falls in the third house. Whose language are you still using to describe experiences that have happened to you? Scorpio rising, for you, this falls in the second house. What would you allow yourself to want if desire itself didn't feel dangerous? Sagittarius rising, for you, this falls in the first house. Who were you before you learned that your emotional intensity required an apology? Capricorn rising, for you, this falls in the 12th house. What feeling have you institutionalized so deeply and buried so far away from your consciousness inside yourself that you've forgotten it's a feeling and not just who you are? Aquarius rising, for you, this falls in the 11th house. Which community are you belonging to at the cost of your own emotional safety? Pisces rising, for you, this falls in the 10th house. What would your public life look like if it was built around what moves you emotionally instead of what makes you easily accessible? A Sagittarius Blue Moon is bringing forward themes of truth, meaning, restlessness, liberation, and emotional expansion. The Sagittarius is often misunderstood because they are a mutable fire. This energy is not merely about adventure, travel, and optimism. It's about searching for coherence within, facing the conflict within, reconciling the contradictory aspects of the human experience. The instinct to turn pain into perspective for Sagittarius is almost like a knee-jerk reaction. Every time Sagittarius has an experience that feels uncomfortable, they immediately can find meaning into it. And while that's beautiful, that process can bypass the emotional response that we're having to the experience. So under a blue moon, that search can become emotionally evasive because the mind wants revelation quicker than the nervous system is looking to integrate it. What emotional intelligence is calling us to do under Sagittarius Full Moon is to integrate the thought, the experience with the emotions and meaning. So we want to move around. Movement allows emotional honesty for Sagittarius. Remember, wild horse, it needs a lot of movement, it needs a lot of space. Sagittarius has a habit of jumping to conclusions that are later found out to be untrue. That premature desire to find meaning is part of the restlessness associated with this energy. Sagittarius likes to leap forward. They like to move forward. They like to escape the emotional confinement of the issue and move to what are we going to do. And this practice is about feeling what's real and learning not to outpace or outrun the discomfort with philosophy or spirituality or insight. When we're willing to engage in physical movement before jumping to the spirituality or philosophical take, we're giving our body a chance to feel, to react. whether it's walking or going for a run. It gives the body a chance to clarify what the mind is processing. What truths am I trying to arrive to too early? This is the work that Gemini does really well. This kind of like self-inquiry designed to really challenge the mind. Sagittarius likes to jump to, what is this trying to teach me? Or what do I believe about this? We want to delay the getting to the belief system and getting to the philosophy or the knowledge, and instead explore, what are we trying to escape? What are we trying to bypass? I would also encourage you to do some journaling. See what comes up for you. Write some statements to yourself that are uncensored about what you're feeling, not for the sake of intellectualizing your experience, but making it more real. As an example, I feel neglected when you stop communicating with me. Do you see how that's concrete and it's emotional and it's real? I feel neglected when you stop communicating with me. I'm connecting the behavior to my feelings and I'm expressing it as a thought. We're not trying to conceptualize what we're experiencing. We're merely trying to name it and take it from this kind of abstract pain that we're low-key running away from into this very real emotional experience that we're willing to sit through and deeply experience. Sagittarius traditionally likes to run away from commitments because commitments feel like a trap often, and emotions are a commitment. And when we have experiences that destabilize us or that make us feel uncomfortable or that make us feel scared, we have an obligation to explore that because the body is already committed to that experience. So whether we want to pretend it didn't happen or intellectualize it and run away from it doesn't really short circuit the emotional somatic experience that we're having. The feelings that we're trying to escape through movement, travel, optimism, spirituality, productivity, reinvention, they're often trying to cover something else that we're confusing with growth. Growth is not avoidant. Growth is about engagement. Sagittarius is the most deep of the fire signs. So part of the job of this energy requires the willingness to surrender to what is, not just intellectually, but also emotionally and somatically, meaning physically. So your body, as well as your heart and mind, all have to embody this truth that you now accept. The Sagittarius full moon is not asking you to have all the answers. It wants you to get curious, to notice which belief systems have you adopted that no longer ring true for you, and how are those belief systems keeping you from your own definition of truth. Growth and expansion isn't always about running away, traveling, moving, fighting. Sometimes it's about the courage to be still, be present long enough for the chaos to teach you something, long enough for a deeper reality to emerge, long enough for a new truth to reveal itself. Under this Sagittarius full moon, blue moon, we're being encouraged to let honesty be a form of self-love, a form of liberation, not about performance and not about reaching a general consensus, but about giving ourselves permission to simply be in our authentic human experience and allowing it to exist with all of its complications and contradictions, because all of that is what makes us special, what makes us unique, what makes us free, what makes us independent. Freedom cannot exist without the ability to question it. Freedom is not real when it cannot be questioned. You have to be able to get to the other side, peace, harmony, emotional liberation. Sagittarius has a deeply intertwined relationship with zodiac sign Cancer because they are both deeply emotional souls. While one tends to internalize their emotional experience and feel it very deeply, the other tends to externalize it. The challenge for Sagittarius is to give themselves a chance to experience their emotions as intimately as they experience the world. There is so much beauty and wisdom that can come from being willing to sit with discomfort and to let it teach you. I look forward to reconnecting with you on June 15th for the new moon in Gemini. Thank you for listening to the Aquarius podcast. You can book your astrology reading at intuitivehealing.com. You can also watch videos at Intuitive Healing here on YouTube for Astrology 101 content. Listen to the Aquarius podcast on Spotify, as well as here on YouTube for your horoscope. If you're interested in astrology and love connections, you can visit at Styled Under Libra. And of course, for health and wellness and holistic healing, visit at Styled Under Virgo for all of your astrology content. Thanks so much for watching.